Okay, so looking from the carport, here's a carport. We have the first incarnation of the relaxation area of the carport. It will transition to something more beautiful in the future, but this is what we have right now with a frog really enjoying the sun in front of the art studio. And so let's take a walk through the gardens. So as soon as I get around this, so we have a little decorative plant that I rescued from a two for sale, so it's starting to blossom again. And our wonderful wisteria is going through a growing spurt, and our plum tree is going to have tons of plums. And something's over here. Okay. And our wonderful stone crop is soon going to start exploding in that pot. We have hollyhocks that planted themselves. And we have the arugula that's going to seed. And a sunflower that planted itself. And some whirling milkweed. And some ephedra that needs to be planted in the ground after the tomatoes are harvested. And a mum that made it through the winter. And remember these wonderful little flowers that were a milkweed? They're now starting to turn to seed. I'll collect those seeds. And the grapevine. And here we may have gotten a lizard crawling around. Tons of lizards this year. This is a baby jujube bush. And you can see that there are little green flowers on it. Right there. The green flowers hopefully will be tiny fruit. We'll see. And the lilac bush is doing well as a local rose bush that somebody gave me has finally revived itself. Here's the old bamboo that's already been picked out. There's still a bunch more to do. Here are some new herbs that have just been planted in pots and will go in the front room later. We have a purple basil, German thyme, which can probably go in the ground later too. Pineapple sage, which will have to be protected through the winter. And a big gem pepper. And here comes, I hear the jingle jingle of Gigi. Over here we have lemon thyme that is starting to spread and oregano. Here we have sunchokes that are having a blast. Hi, Gigi. Hi there. Here she comes. She's coming running through. Come on. Go ahead. Run through. La 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 la. There goes Gigi for her morning little deposit. Okay. Again, we have some more sunchokes that I planted right here. And some greens. And another little lilac. Some basil that is doing quite well. Some wonderful yarrow that's doing quite well. Some more basil. You can hear the birds in the background. They're having a blast. Some Thai basil. Some chocolate mint that has been growing slowly. Maybe it needs to be in more of a shade. We'll see. The pomegranate seems to be coming back, thank goodness. And a tomato that made its way over there somehow. And we transplanted something that's not doing so well, and hopefully it'll pick up. Okay, so this is the early summer gardens, which is different than things you've seen. Here are a bunch of goji berries. Where is it? Goji berries. A little further down, maybe. There they are. And the tree will give some goji berries still, right down there, off and on throughout the summer. But mostly it'll be during the cool fall when it'll finish giving its goji berries. Remember the wonderful valerian that was in total bloom? Well, some of it is in bloom now and some of it is not, is spent. That's what happens in the early summer. But not to fear, because we still have other flowering things. We have tomatoes that are going to flower as well, and we have a baby hyssop here that's going to flower. Here's a ton of goji berries in the bush. And here we have beautiful little cone flowers. They call it Mexican hat. Those are blossoming now. The bees love it. They don't care if there are tons of petals or not. It's the pollen that they're looking after. And we have a ton of different ones of those that have planted themselves, as well as the yarrow is still doing fabulously. And you can see one of the hyssops is starting to bloom already. So the bees and butterflies and hummingbirds are really going to start yumming it up. And in the distance, some more yarrow. Some more hyssop that's going to be blossoming soon. Some valerian that's on its way out as far as blossoms. And then if you can see here, there's some teeny tiny yellow blossoms coming out on the bee balm. And that's what's important, is to keep your gardens blossoming all the time. Hopefully you can hear all the wonderful sounds of the birds that are across the arroyo, because I'm walking through my garden right now. If I was sitting still, they would probably come around. And here is one watering dish that we have for small birds and insects. The other day, a little wasp was in there taking a drink, and I've never seen a wasp take a drink. It was really neat. Anyway, coming around, we have a jalapeno pepper and some other valerian, and then the beautiful tomato plants are doing quite well. Here's the bamboo that still needs to be removed. And whoops, here is the wonderful pear tree that is starting to get some pears on it. I'm going to have to do some good soaking with the trees today. This tree, and also come around that tree right there. I'll be doing some soaking with it. Yesterday we did some really good deep watering of the gardens, but not the trees. Here is some more of the tomato plants that are doing quite well. And off in the distance you can see those brown canes going up and down. Those are the blackberry bushes that are doing quite well. Okay. Here we have mullein, and in the mullein we have a grass growing that I'm going to take out, because what happens with these parts of the grasses is they can become very dangerous for animals, particularly for dogs. So we get them when we see them. And you see that the sage still has a few blossoms to it, but is mostly spent. What's really starting to get lovely blossoms, and you can see if I can get it up there, we go. Our bumblebees are coming around. You can see the bumblebee right there on the lamb's ears. You see him? There we go. He just flew away, circling around trying to find another one. But the lamb's ears have wonderful, wonderful little flowers on them that bumblebees and all sorts of bees really enjoy. Here's another butterfly bush that was cut way down and now it's way up again. You can really be very ruthless with them and they'll come back. Here's another tomato plant doing well. And here's another of the lamb's ears. And in the mugwort will flower soon too. I'll show that later. It's not flowering quite yet. And here, coming around to the back here, just to my back, is the comfrey that's still flowering. Okay, further in the gardens, here we go. Here's another dish that I need to fill with a little bit more water for smaller animals. So we have some wonderful blossoms here on the back porch of some more yarrow that kind of fell apart from the other one. So I put it in a pot so we don't lose it. Some wonderful Rocky Mountain bee balm. Although it looks white, it actually to the eye looks purple. Here's an interesting perennial grass that looks like curly hair, or looks like it just got up in the morning and hasn't combed their hair. And a baby fig tree is doing quite well. Then the kinnicknick. I don't know if you remember how small the kinnicknick was this fall, but it's really spreading and looking gorgeous, so maybe it will have flowers come the fall. We'll see. Maybe it needs to be cross-pollinated, and if so, I'll have to get another plant to do that. You can see that it's way over here. All of that is kinnicknick. And last time it was about half its size. Here we have some gorgeous sage. This is something called silver sage, and it has beautiful blossoms on it. And this is something just called mint sage, which has a really different blossom on it. You can see them. I'm not going to walk through this area of the garden, but you can see all the cilantro. Isn't it beautiful? Have a ton of cilantro that the bees love. And just further than the cilantro is tarragon, which is a lower ground cover. Right in there, you can't quite see it. Let's see. That's the tarragon. And then further on, we have all the mints. So that's the way the garden looks in the early summer. So we'll do a wonderful, and here's an ornamental that came back. And it'll be flowering soon too. So you try to keep a diverse amount of different types of plants in your gardens so that you have them blossoming all year long. Remember, over here we had the beautiful pink mint. It was called bubble mint. Well, now, next to it, after it finishes blossoming, next to it are the lamb's ears that will blossom. So you have a combination of different things like that to keep the pollinators and any kind of little guys happy. The only person that we haven't introduced you to again is the gooseberry is further along the arroyo. So I'm going to go down to the arroyo, the area, the fence by the arroyo, as we pass by the wonderful tomatoes. Here is a cherry tree that's always been suffering because of the bamboo taking its water, but I think this year we were able to revive it, and we'll see next year we may get some cherries. Then we're coming along to the gooseberry bush. If you look real closely, you can see the little green gooseberries that haven't ripened yet. And the same thing will be on the grapevine. You can see right in there, where are we? Right in there, there are some grapes that are going to start getting ripe. But what I wanted to show you was this lovely wormwood that has been growing by leaps and bounds this year too. Sometimes it takes a few years for a plant to really take off in a garden. And you see those little fronds coming up from it? They're very delicate. Those are its flowers. Okay, and then we have arbors here of a volunteer. These are all volunteer trees, so I created an arbor with them. And this is another site of the goji berry bush. And maybe we'll leave you with the goji berry bush. Let's see if I can get some goji berries right there. Let's see, we're over there. So we need to do a close-up. There we are, goji berries. So that is the Bee's Knees and Hummer's Hangout, June 7th, 2017. Late spring, early summer.